How do you be a better person and be happy? I love that you click on this video because that means you're into self-improvement and you want to continue to get better within your life, and I love that. So with that being said, today I plan to show you our 4-step framework for how to be a better person and be happy. And along the way, I'm going to share some quick hacks with you, some mindset shifts that you can have that are really helpful, and how to execute upon these changes that you want to make. And as someone myself who is super into self-improvement and in the past who always hasn't been happiest, I'm gonna share my tips and kind of my journey that helped me move through these things and be a better person and continue to strive towards that. With that being said, my name's Richardson. I'm a coach here at Life in Your Terms, and I make these videos to help pass on my experience and pass on my knowledge so you guys can learn these things quicker than I ever could. So the first step within this process of how to be a better person and be happy is going to be to ask yourself, what is making you feel like you're not a good person or want to be better? And this is where I encourage you to take the balance wheel in the description below after the video, because you want to hear all this good information throughout the video, then apply it through this balance wheel, because this balance wheel will really help you lay all these things out and make it really easy to become a better person. Because what you're gonna do is, let's say you take this balance wheel and your physical fitness is low and maybe your mental health is low. Well, there you go. You have 2 categories you can focus on. It's very clear. Okay, those are my areas that I need to focus on to be a better person. So the balance wheel is going to lay out your professional, your relationships, your health, and your resources in a really easy, cohesive way that you can view it and then reference back to it, and you could take it every quarter to kind of see how your journey's gone in being a better person. But you want to ask yourself, what is making you feel this way? Because I know myself that sometimes I have fleeting feelings of where, oh my gosh, I feel like this area of mine in my life is in crisis, when it's not. So what I would encourage you to do is take that balance wheel, really feel at, okay, why do I feel like not a good person, or where do I want to get better? Because that can really be helpful in highlighting that for you. So once you've kind of looked at your areas, like, okay, I really want to work on my physical health and my job environment, or I really want to work on my time management and my relationship with my spouse. Whatever it is, you look at those things, and then once you do that, you then want to ask yourself the question, why do you want to make these changes? Now, the reason you ask yourself this question is because making these changes is going to be hard. There's going to be days where you feel really motivated to do so, and there's going to be days you don't really want to make these changes. So you ask yourself why, because it's kind of something to reference back to. When I was making my change through perfectionism, because that was really a big area that I struggled in, I had to give myself reminders and good reasons why I'm making this change. And one phrase that really helps me and shows me why I'm making this change is that the work is the goal. No outcome of mine is the goal, but the work itself is the goal, because of the inputs that I'm going to put in that's going to help and change the world that it's seen through an output. So that is why I've made that transition, and it's very clear to me that I need to continue to work on that so that I make the work the goal and the priority to help make those changes. That kind of makes sense? So ask yourself, why do you want to make these changes, to give yourself a true north throughout this process. Now, on top of identifying your current problems and changes you want to make, with the happiness piece, don't only focus on happiness. I think a lot of people fall into the happiness trap, where they think, I'll be happy when. But that's such a dangerous statement, because what often happens is you get to that win and then you move the goalposts even further. So I'd encourage you to not even think about happiness, because if you're thinking about happiness and you want to be happy all the time, it's just not a realistic state of being. Because as humans, we experience a wide variety of emotions that are all okay to feel and all great to feel. Feeling sad, feeling mad, feeling stressed are all great emotions, and they show you the kind of the yin to the yang, where you feel these, but you also feel happiness, and happiness feels that much better. And I would actually rather refer to it as joy. So at the end of throughout the rest of this video, I'm not even going to refer to happiness. I'm only going to refer to joy, because I want you to not think about only happiness. I want you to focus on feeling all emotions and being okay with those, because when you focus on only being happy, you put yourself at a deficit and you'll never be truly happy. So the second piece in this process is to visualize what's possible. You want to know from where you're at to where you want to go. What does the best version of yourself look like? And that's where I would encourage you to ask yourself the question, what does amazing look like? Again, use that balance wheel. Go around the balance wheel and ask yourself, in each of these areas, if it was a 10 out of 10, what would amazing look like 12 months from now, 5 years from now? And if you ask yourself that question, you'll start to get a really good image. And if you're also struggling with this, I would also ask you to visualize these 4 situations. The 4 situations are, if I gave you all the money in the world, what would you do with it? What kind of things and activities would you do? If I told you you could do any job in the world and I would pay you 250 grand a year to do that job, what would you do? If I told you had 3 years left to live and you were gonna die soon, what would you do with that time left? And the 4th and final situation is that if you're on it's your 100th birthday party, what are some of the legacy pieces you want to be hearing? And what this could kind of do, this can really create a good visualization of what you'd want to do if you were the best version of yourself. You go through those 4 situations, lay it out and write it out. Sometimes it's helpful. I like to do it. I like to do it with my clients. So I thought I'd add it in this video because some people find it very helpful to do. Now, when you're visualizing what does amazing look like, you don't want to just visualize the outcome, because your day-to-day and how to be a better person and be joyful is gonna be to actually visualize all the work you're gonna have to do to get there. So if you wanna lose 30 pounds and that's what amazing looks like to you, you're like, I'm a better person for my kids, I'm a better example because I've lost this weight and I show them healthy living. Well, that's an outcome, and that outcome is beautiful. But you have to ask yourself and visualize all the work that's gonna take to get there, because when you visualize the work, you visualize getting up early, you visualize not wanting to go to the gym, you visualize all of these things, it can be very helpful for you because you're gonna encounter these things on a day-to-day basis and you're gonna be ready for it. So visualize all the work you're gonna do. And a good way to visualize, if you're struggling to visualize, is to meditate. I like to put on Spotify music, meditate to that. I like to do an ice bath. I'm super mindful in the ice bath, but I find a lot of good ideas flood into my mind when I'm super cold and I feel really empowered because I get that adrenaline dump. On top of ice bath, just mindfulness in general, I like to go outside and sit on that back deck. There's some trees out there, and I just like to look out there and just enjoy and be present, and a lot of good thoughts tend to flow in. So if you're struggling to visualize, those are some things you can try. Now, the 3rd piece is to start to put strategies together to become a better person and to become more joyful. Now, with those things, some quick hacks you can do that are just easy, it'll put you in a better mood instantly, is gonna be gratitude. I like to think about one thing I'm grateful for every day. Typically it's something really simple, like today, I was thankful for my sight because I was at my girlfriend's classroom and I felt the braille on the wall and I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, I'm so thankful that I can see. And so gratitude is one piece. It's just gonna make you feel better overall. Fitness, working out, if you get a workout in, you're gonna get the physical benefits, but you're also just getting the mental benefits that you feel better and you're doing something for yourself. On top of fitness, another thing you can do is helping others. If you actually go out of your way to go help other people and dedicate time to them and their lives, it tends to make me feel a lot better. So I'd imagine it would for you as well. So those are 3 quick hacks that you can do to make yourself feel better. On top of that, you have to ask yourself, what systems do you need to have in place to make these changes? So if you want to lose the 30 pounds and have a better relationship with your partner, well, it'd be intuitive to put out your clothes beforehand, get your breakfast ready before you go to the gym, make it really easy to go to the gym. And with your partner, it'd be easy to schedule a date every weekend or once a month and have that system in place, because to me, systems make the outcome we want easier to achieve. We just put in the inputs and the systems allow for those inputs to be easier to happen, and then the output easier to happen. So ask yourself, what systems do you need in place to make this happen? What accountability things do you need? What discipline things do you need? What do you need to rely on with that true north, and why you want to make these changes? Ask yourself those questions. On top of that, I would set some goals around. I like to do daily, weekly, quarterly, and yearly goals. I find these very helpful. And what I do is I do the 4 It's of goal setting. And again, my goals are all surrounded around the balance wheel, because I do professional, I do relationships, I do health, I do resources. And I use the 4 It's of goal setting, which help me succeed on my goals. And those are to say it out loud, to write it down, to put a date on it, and then to send it or share it with someone. When you do those 4 It's, you'll find those goals a lot easier to accomplish. The 4th and final piece to be a better person and to be more joyful is to just execute, to make it happen. And the way I have found in my life what I've made happen, and the reason I feel like I have some authority on this is I have been consistently working out for 6 years now. I have made 100 pieces of content on YouTube and Instagram. And I'm able to start a business and have a mentor, and I got a 4.0 GPA through high school and college, all by the age of 23. So I feel like I have some authority on these things. And with that being said, what I like to do when I'm chasing success and stuff like that is consistency, intensity, and improvement, and being humble enough to see the improvement. So if you can do those three things with becoming a better person, you'll kill it, and you'll never stop learning. If you're, again, consistent, you're intense, and you improve whenever you can. Those are the three things that I found for myself. Now, on top of that, with execution, I would like for you to ask yourself what barriers are gonna come along the way. That's why I brought up the systems. That's why I brought up why you wanna make these changes, because it all relates to what barriers are gonna stop you. There's gonna be a lot of resistance in making those changes, but don't let those stop you. And I encourage you to think about them in a proactive way instead of a reactive way, because I think that's how a lot of people operate. They wait for the problems to arise and they have to overcome them all on their own. But instead, if you just proactively prevent those problems, it becomes a lot easier to work through them. So that was how to become a better person and be happy. But again, I refer to it as joyful. If you like that, please leave a comment, because a comment tells me what you guys like and what you guys don't like about these videos. What's helpful, what's not helpful. And I like hearing that from you guys. If you like and subscribe, that's just kind of the icing on the cake. And also, if you have not taken that balance wheel, go ahead and take that balance wheel now, because what it's gonna do is you can run through this whole framework with it and base everything off it, and it'll help you become a better person.